Today's video is sponsored by KEH Camera. So I'm still here filming video 4 of today. If you have been watching the videos that have been going all week, the videos I've been filming today, you know the situation and what's going on. If you have watched those, you know that really since I made the last video about this series, this follow-up to Friend of Mine, this new series on Chillicothe, Ohio, I haven't shot anything in a few weeks at all. So in terms of updates on new photos since the last one, I haven't shot anything else, but I've been developing the film and I've been scanning the film, and so I have a few thoughts that I'd like to share today about this project. One of the first things that kind of came to mind in shooting a follow-up to Friend of Mine, that book had such a distinct look and feel to it because of the film and the format that I was using. That entire book was shot on 35mm Tri-X, so it was contrasty and grainy. It had a very distinct look and it was really moody. And being here in Chillicothe and looking at those photos and comparing it to now, it feels familiar, but it's changed a lot. And so I felt like shooting a follow-up to this and, you know, really focusing on sort of the change that's happened since then, it would make sense to shoot it in a familiar but different kind of way. And so rather than doing black and white 35mm film, I felt like I would want to go with 35mm medium format. One, just to have that extra resolution and dynamic range as well, something a little less punchy and contrasty and really moody. You know, it sort of has like a lighter and cleaner kind of look, or at least the way I've been shooting and scanning the film as well. I really want the overall mood and feel to feel different and reflect sort of the changes there. And when it comes to black and white medium format film, I typically like HP5 and Delta 3200. HP5 is great and very versatile, but a lot of times I really like that extra grain in Delta 3200. However, obviously for everything I just stated, that might not be the best choice for this, as it's, you know, it's a totally different look than what I'm going for. So I bought a handful of different film stocks just to go out and shoot, and I wasn't shooting any kind of like side-by-side test or anything like that. I just wanted to go out and shoot and just grab whatever film I felt like trying. So I have shot some HP5, I've shot some Ilford FP4, and I've also shot some Delta 400. I haven't shot any Delta 100 in 120 yet. I did in 4x5 and I absolutely loved it. But Delta 400 as well, I've been really enjoying. I don't know necessarily that I'm as crazy about the Delta grain structure. It's definitely very different from HP5. That's where I've kind of landed on FP4 at the time. This could totally change by the next update video. Hopefully I'll be shooting more by then. But I don't know, and there's something about the FP4 that I'm really enjoying because I feel like it gives me just a little bit more punch than HP5, especially in the blacks and the shadows, but there's still tons of dynamic range. Like some of the photos that I scanned in, I was really genuinely shocked at how much dynamic range that film has, while still having a little bit more of a punch and like a clarity to it than HP5 does. And don't get me wrong, HP5 is incredible. I think it is the most versatile black and white film on the market, really no matter what the format is. It pulls well, it pushes insanely well, and just shooting it at box speed, you're getting just a reliable, great black and white film stock. But I don't know, in medium format, there is something nice about that FP4 that I'm really enjoying so far. So I'm probably going to be shooting some more of that and the other films as well. I'm not done testing things out or trying out different films. I would like to stick with an Ilford film because it's pretty much all I shoot anyway. I really love Ilford's dedication to black and white photography. So I'll probably end up staying with Ilford film, but which one exactly, I don't know yet, but FP4 is definitely one that I'm considering. And when I shot Friend of Mine, I was really looking at a lot of Elliott Erwitt, a lot of Walker Evans, a lot of really classic photographers, whereas lately I haven't been looking at those photographers as much. Elliot Erwitt is always my favorite, don't get it twisted, but I've been looking at a lot more contemporary photographers, and I think just other photographers that I wasn't exposed to, 8 years ago when I made those photos for a friend of mine. So that in itself has also been an interesting kind of shift for me, and what I'm shooting and what I'm looking for. Looking at a lot of Mark Steinmetz, a lot of Mimi Plum, a lot of Sage Sawyer. There's a lot of different photographers that I'm looking at very heavily as I'm shooting. There are several photographers now that I'm really inspired by that I didn't even know existed back then. So I think that also is going to have a very big impact on just overall the stuff I'm looking for and how I'm shooting. I obviously can't make the level of work that those photographers make. I just have to do what I can do. So it'll be interesting to see, how those kind of influences play into the overall look of things. But it'll be interesting to see, how those influences come into play in the overall look. Now, I've been shooting this with the Fuji GF670 that I'm borrowing from KEH, who is sort of sponsoring this whole project and the YouTube series itself. And I've also been using my Pentax 670 II. Now, for starters, the GF670, absolutely incredible. I forgot how amazing it is to have a camera like that is so just compact and foldable. The lens on that camera as well is just insane. But the Pentax 670 II, using an SLR as opposed to the rangefinder of the GF670, walking around town and shooting photos of downtown Chillicothe and stuff like that, I'm not used to using a camera like a Pentax 670 II. I've always carried my M6 for stuff like that. And so the GF670 being a rangefinder, it feels familiar, but I am curious as to just the differences that makes in, the kind of stuff I shoot and how I shoot when using an SLR like the 670 II. Traditionally, I've always used that camera for things like portraits, but it has been fun to carry around. I have the 105, but I also just got back this old beat up 75 f4.5. My friend Devin Blaskovich gave me this several years ago. And then when I sold my Pentax 6.7, I gave this lens to Matt Seal. Since it was given to me, I wasn't going to sell it to somebody. Well, when I bought my 6.7 II, Matt gave me this lens back. So using a 75 on 6x7 is nice because I like having that wider field of view, but using this lens has only made me want the 75 2.8 AL lens, which is an incredible lens for the 6.7 II. It's a lens I've always wanted, but it has only gotten more expensive. Just had a stroke. It's only gotten more expensive as time has gone on. Hopefully one day I will be able to pick up that lens, but in the meantime, that's what I've been using to shoot this project. So it'll probably be a mix of different things. I've kind of talked about it before with KEH sponsoring this project. They've just said, we're happy to supporting the project. We're happy to support the project in any way through these videos and also through gear. So huge shout out to KEH for sponsoring this video and this series. KEH has been trading, buying, and selling used photography gear for over 40 years now. Whether you need a camera body or a lens or a tripod or a camera bag or even just some of these random odds and ends and parts for some of these older film cameras that are hard to track down, there's always a good chance they have it at KEH because their inventory is massive. They also have a risk-free 21-day return policy for thousands of their items, along with a 180-day warranty included. If you need to trade in or sell any of your gear, they have a quoting system on their website that's available 24/7, or you can even schedule a video chat with one of their buyers. Be sure to use the links down below when you're shopping with KEH, and for 5% off of your order, use MD Shop, and if you're going to be selling any gear, use MD Sell for an additional 5% bonus. That's going to do it for today. Thank you guys so much, especially this week as these videos that I've been filming today have been rolling out. The updates and everything, the videos in general, it's been odd for me to try and get back to work, but I appreciate all of you that have been there with me for everything over the last few years, but especially this week. I hope you've enjoyed the videos I've put together. Hopefully I'll have better stuff for you next week, but I appreciate the support and the patience. My family appreciates all of you that have reached out over the last couple of weeks. We really do appreciate that, so thank you. But that's it for today. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.